we have gotten to the point where we rather be with a artificial intelligence that's going to tell us everything we want to hear and create relationships. How would you feel if the guy or girl you were with just was like, I'm in love with my artificial intelligence?
They're
I'm
no
breaking up
longer
with you.
with me.
Yeah, that's it.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, Della.
I'm not curious.
And we're back with another episode of Unfiltered Gamers. And today we have a special guest all the way from the land of make-believe, Smexy.
Hi.
How you doing, Smexy? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Glad you can be here. Glad you could be here too. I had to harass Smexy to come in the show for today's topic. It was like I was constantly like blowing up her DMs, which is, we're not doing it that way. I wasn't doing it that way, being weird. But I was just like, hey, come on the show, come on the show, come on the show. And then she finally agreed after I said I would buy like candy bars or whatever. But so Smexy, tell the viewers about yourself a little bit. Tell us about yourself for those who don't know you at home.
I've been a content creator for 7 years as of this month, partnered for 6 over on Twitch. And before that, I was running GameStops. So I've been in at least the gaming retail and playing side of things for quite a long time, since 2012. And then I went to school briefly for game design as well.
Oh, nice. So like, when you say game design, like actually like making the character models and everything, because
like
if I'm not
to be the designer, to go through and like work with art and programming to create worlds and characters and stuff.
So, because I know you also do some VTube, and also you have a VTube model. You made that yourself, correct?
So I'm using a model that is by a creator named Suika.
Okay.
But she allows you to mess with all the files. And so not all of them, obviously, not anything in like live 2D cubism, but I've been messing with things over on like the texture file side of things. I have one actually in the works with my artist personally. This is an interim model at the moment, but it's the same sort of concept.
Okay, it's because I know the one you have, it's like a, it's not a yokai. It's an Oni, right? It's an Oni.
Well, it's kind of a yokai. So it's a Hanya, which is like the female version of an Oni, but they're like snake women.
Yeah, so she has a snake woman. So to eat men. That's what most snake women do, and that's what most women do in 2025. Just eat us. But
hungry, man.
But what got you into like streaming and stuff? Did you just like, I'll give it a whirl, or it's like?
It's actually a funny story. So I really like the game Detroit Become Human, and I found out that the likeness and the voice for Connor, Brian Deckhart, was streaming Detroit Become Human. I was like, oh, that's really cool. And so I popped in, and at the time I was running GameStops, and I was like, this is a really cool thing. I like this a lot. I think I could do this. Because when I became a store manager with GameStop, you lose the ability kind of to just like shoot the shit with customers and nerd out about games, because you're, going over profit and loss, you're hiring and firing, you're doing schedules, you're doing planograms, yada, yada, yada. And so I had lost that social element in gaming retail that you kind of go into working at GameStop for in the first place. And so I was like, you know what, I could get that back. And I think I'd be good at this. I was a theater kid all throughout middle and high school. I was very much into, entertainment. And so I was like, I could do this. And so I just started.
Okay. I when you said you like ran GameStop, so I thought you was like, you ran one GameStop, but it seems like you were like on a huge corporate level of GameStop. It sounds like to me.
I was just a store manager, but I was the store manager that you would move from store to store to fix it. I would frequently be on other stores' payroll to clean their stores and
so you were you were like the cleaner of things. You fix stuff up.
Yeah, my first store I ever had, I had 100% turnover, so everybody quit on me within the first month, which was fine because it needed a clean out. And then by the time I hired my people, we were top 10% of the company the entire holiday season.
That's awesome.
That's business.
That's a recipe
Business
boy right there. That's good.
I say my
Yeah.
location smelled like fresh linen, no sweaty gamer
Wow.
smell. I was clean. Everything was good. I
So
took care of my people.
It took a woman to come in and clean up
Yeah.
shit. And
And get
that's-
rid of all the stickers plastered everywhere, man. Like, there's no adults that love stickers more than GameStop employees. I'll tell you what.
I was a GameStop employee for like a month.
I'm
I was like-
sorry.
I kind of did it because like I kind of knew the manager, and he was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Do you want to like work? Like we just need stocks and stuff." And I was like working another job, and so that was like a side gig, and I was just like, I kind of just want to do that. I was doing it for like bullshit,
Yeah.
and I called out like twice, and he was like, "Yeah, I gotta let you go." I was like, "Okay, I really didn't take this job serious." Like I think I only did it because I got like free beta codes, and that's all I really wanted.
Hey, that's fair. Yeah, you get the discount and stuff. If you were hired during like seasonal, that's what my district like to call warm bodies, because we had quotas of how many people we would need to hire for the holidays, but then they wouldn't give us enough hours to give them like a livable wage or anything. So it was essentially just. I had a couple friends of mine who I was like, "Hey, do you want a job? You're not actually gonna really work. I'll give you like 4 hours a week." And they're like, "Yeah, that's fine." Because, I wanted to be able to give people as many hours as I could, but you can't just have people on payroll and not work them at all. So it's just warm bodies.
Damn. So GameStop employees, most of you guys are just warm bodies.
Yeah.
But that's business. That's business. And
Well,
me and Matt
they
always
know it too. If you're not in management, or even if you are in management, they know it too. They know how few hours they get. You can't just work at GameStop unless you're not paying rent and have no bills.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of people, like especially with today's climate with things and jobs, and it's just like everybody feels like they're irreplaceable. Everybody
Oh,
feels like
yeah.
they're replaceable in jobs.
You're
And-
all replaceable. I'm sorry.
And me and Matt have always spoken about this because Matt has a very vast background in working in businesses and corporations and stuff. And we've spoken about just, companies laying people off and like, doing clean outs and stuff. It's just, that's just the business of how it works.
Yeah,
No.
unfortunately, there's no such thing as an indispensable person anymore. Like I've worked plenty of jobs as well. I was cash management for Whole Foods and for McDonald's. I've run other retail things. I've worked in food service, and it doesn't matter how amazing you are at your job. Someone will want your job enough that they can replace you if you start getting complacent.
But a lot of people, especially with Starbucks employees, they feel like they're irreplaceable because they're protesting and want.
And,
And
and
I get it.
everything,
I get
everything's so
some
easy to learn. You know what I mean? Like we really we over exaggerate how hard a job is going to be. Any job, pick a job, and we're like, oh, it's going to take forever to learn. No, it takes like a week to learn a lot of things if you really apply yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Learn those basic skills and then fake it till you make it the rest of the way.
Yep.
I was actually talking to a buddy about this. He's in tech and like coding and things like that. And he is such an honest person, and it's one of his best qualities. But in order to get a job in tech right now, because it's such an oversaturated field, you gotta lie your fucking ass off, man. Like you just have
Or you just
to.
have to be the best of the best of the best. Like there is a lot of hiring going on in tech, but from the people I've talked to, but it's like you've got to be the expert. Of
You have to
a
have
bunch of stuff,
years of
yeah.
experience in doing this. Your GitHub has to be like pristine. You're working on that every day for a certain amount of hours every week. And like, that's fine. He does the GitHub stuff. He does all those things. But like, he is honest to a fault. He'll say, hey, you know what? I'm not as confident in these sectors of my repertoire, but I could work on them. But no one wants to hear that. They want to hear you be like, I'm the one you want. I'm the best at this. You won't have to baby me
Which
through
is
things.
insane
And he can
because most of those
very
things
easily
he
do
can
it.
pick up within like a week and be fine.
Absolutely.
Be an
Absolutely.
expert more than the
He's-
person who talked themselves up, but it's just
He's killing his own chances by being honest, which is quite a silly thing to say, but it's true, unfortunately.
Yeah, managers don't want to hear honesty. They want you to lie to, like you said, fake it to make it, like fake it, and so they know, like, okay, as he's selling me a pipe dream.
Well, and even if
If you
they
just-
don't believe them, it's probably to cover their own butts, Because
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, they told me they could versus somebody who said, oh, well,
Yeah,
maybe.
absolutely. Well, and I think that this is very topical for our situation too, but whenever you're going into a job interview, you are the product and it's your job to sell it to the person who wants to hire you. It's the same sort of thing in content creation. You are selling yourself and your image and what you're about to your audience to see if they'll bite and monetarily support you.
And it's great that you brought up content creation because we're here to talk about a subject matter that me and Matt have constant arguments over every time we start up.
Yeah, 'cause
Before
I'm
we start up,
putting
me and
us-
Matt
I'm
have
putting us like I'm doing us an injustice by consistently over the last couple of months while I've been like just insanely busy. Like I'm racing to the podcast every week. No makeup, hat on, barely
But
any
how
light
you
in the
wait?
room.
See right there saying
And
you're doing
I'm
us
like,
an
I'm like wearing
injustice.
a
How is that
sports
an
bra, keeping
injustice?
these guys
Okay.
down. I have like a giant T-shirt. Like I do not have the time. I do not have the
Okay.
energy. I do not have anything to offer in terms of being that.
So subject matter right now is, do looks matter in content creation when it comes to it? Does how you look, especially when it comes to like female content creators, Matt says that people want to look at pretty things constantly, and like, it's like if you got the face, the body, and all the stuff, and
Well,
you're
even if
you're
you
showing
don't,
that.
even if you don't, it's expected for women to wear makeup. That is like an expected
I-
quality
and I-
for every woman who has made it to the top. It just
And
it
I
just is part of it.
disagree.
Not to
I disagree,
mention
and I
all
said
the
that-
fake lashes and the nails done.
See,
and
this
the,
is why I
and
disagree.
The, and the
I
plastic
say, I think
surgery, the
we
fake
need to really
noses.
unpack.
Yeah,
We need to unpack what we think
Yeah.
no makeup is.
Yeah.
So I
Because
disagree with
women
her.
are always wearing
like
makeup.
literal zero on, right? And then there's
But
pretty
I-
much name any woman who has made it to the top and she's wearing makeup. It's just how it is.
Even if she looks like she's not to the naked eye, she's wearing makeup. Because also, to put this into perspective too, even if you're not a makeup wearing person, makeup does help when it comes to the camera. Like cameras wash people out. Cameras make people look sick. I can look in the mirror and be like, oh, I look kind of cute today. But because I have hyperpigmentation around my eyes, if I don't put concealer on those puppies, someone's going to ask me if I slept in the past week. There's minimal makeup, if not loads of it,
That's why they put
depending on
makeup
who
on
you're
dudes
talking
too
to.
on camera, like in professional settings, right? They do.
Yeah, in professional
if
settings,
you're, like,
absolutely.
if you're on a news, like you're being interviewed, people
Oh,
are gonna
well,
put
that's
makeup on you.
news. Like to
That's
dark,
what-
yeah, because you
well,
got
yeah, 'cause it's
tons
cameras
of
and
lights on
it's
you.
the same thing.
Yeah,
It's
so you
the
gotta
same thing.
darken yourself up. But like I put on makeup too. Look at my head. You see the shine right there?
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's freshly shaved. But so I told Matt, like, listen, you look fine. You look great.
But it's
and
not. It's
you're
not that I
you're
look
gonna
fine and look
pull
great. It's
people
that I am
in.
putting us at a disadvantage by not
But
playing
why
the
you s-
game that people want you to play as a woman,
So you-
which is looking the part and looking like
So
you want to look the part. Because I
think-
can't right now. I just do not have the time.
You think because you're not wearing makeup, you're hurting our
Yes.
viewership.
100%.
That is
100%.
BS. That is
Somebody
BS.
clicks on it thinking there's a guy and a girl going to talk, and the girl is not wearing makeup. They are 100% more likely to click off the video. 100%. It just is because it looks like I'm not trying as like a woman in the space. That's just how it is.
But this is just a podcast. We're gamers. We look like gamers.
They don't want you to look like a gamer, though.
But the thing is, wait, stop. Because there's these
on my
memes.
side.
You ever seen those memes? Like gamer girlfriend, and like when you look at her, she's like doesn't wear much makeup,
She's
baggy
wearing
clothes,
makeup though.
smiling.
But
She is wearing
she
makeup.
already
She's
said it.
she's like the raw emo girl.
Yep. She's wearing makeup.
But-
She's just not wearing fake lashes and like all of that. And she's not like faking out like where she puts like so much blush she looks like a doll. She just is wearing like a natural.
So the clean girl aesthetic right now is really, really popular. The clean girl aesthetic is to make it look like you're sun-kissed and glowing and youthful and you're not wearing makeup. But the fact of the matter is it's the most expensive makeup and it is piled high and powdery as hell if you look at it in person. The thing that people get stuck on a lot of the time when they're saying that people aren't or are wearing makeup is things like fake lashes, which you can go get your lashes like laminated and permed and they look like they're just your lashes, but they're not. They have something on them. It's basically like tattooing the hair or, like dyeing your lashes and lifting them up. they've got, tattooed on or like lasered eyebrows. They want to see lips that look plump and full. If you've got chapped ass lips, they're not. That's gross. But
I think
the
anybody
thing-
has chapped lips is gross. even
I've
for
got
guys.
chapped lips,
like-
but I put like lip gloss over it, and then people don't care.
And then like
You know?
it's just men aren't valued for that though. And I'm not saying like whether it's right or wrong or whatever. I'm just saying like that's just how it is. Like
Y'all could wear some makeup.
know?
You'd look real good. Just
I need
saying.
makeup.
I'm just saying that, like, I think you both have a good point that certain audiences are going to look for the genuine person. Like, I've done streams where I'm not wearing makeup. The problem is that, yeah, I do have, on average, a much lower viewership. But I also get my regulars coming in asking me if I'm okay, if I'm sick, if I'm not feeling well. And it's because I have a lot of hyperpigmentation around my eyes. I have olive skin, but this is the palest I've ever been. Thank goodness you can't see me.
see,
And my skin is green.
Thank goodness
What are you
you
pointing at
can't
me
see
for?
me.
Don't
Right
point
there.
at
I'm
me.
pointing.
Don't point
well,
at me.
you're over here actually. But
Don't point at me.
But do you hear her? She said,
pointing at me.
"Thank God you can't see me." You know, like it's like that whole. That's how we feel. That's our natural state. Is like when we're not looking our best and putting on the show. It's not that we don't think ourselves are pretty or we don't have. It's not about self-confidence. It's about the fact that like.
You're
That's-
selling a product, and the product is you. And if you
So-
don't look good, people aren't going to. New people, like the people you've already captured, are here. The people who you've already captured will tell you that you look great, that you look beautiful, and blah 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 blah. They may ask the one-off, "Hey, are you feeling okay?" And I'll be like, "Guys, I'm just not wearing eyeliner." But on the flip side, if you're talking about growth within the industry, if you want to attract people to your stream, you need to look put together and poised and like you care. It's the same thing. Go ahead.
But doesn't that kind of seem to kind of just rack your brain? Because I see I see why a lot of people starting to switch over to VTubing, because it's like I could just be I could be the most hideous person in the world, but I have this beautiful model and you don't know how I look. And if I do go out in public at these conventions, I'm wearing like a whole mask and stuff, and you don't know who I am until you look at my tag. But do you feel like that? Does that take some type of mental toll on you? It's just a whole process. Okay, I gotta wake up. I have this smile, put on a pretty face and makeup and stuff. I don't know if you ever saw the movie the damn, I forgot it. I forgot the movie with this woman, and it's a whole body horror thing. The Substance. And there's a whole thing that says the guy saying pretty girls smile. Pretty girls always smile. So there's the whole thing with
The amount of times I've been told to smile.
You
on
should
my
the
smile.
image and
You
stuff.
should
Oh my
smile. You're so
God.
Does
pretty
it
when you
take a
smile.
toll on you? Does it take a toll on you? Saying
I have a
okay,
goth clown makeup and you're coming and telling me to smile? Are you joking?
listen, when I first started following you, I noticed it because you was you worked out a lot. You were you're a fitness buff, and I followed another fitness buff.
Can I tell another thing about that really quick?
Go ahead.
This
is unfiltered, so
dudes
go
want a
ahead.
fit chick, but if you've got muscle on you, they're gonna come into your chat and call you trans. First of all, that's not an insult. Trans women are women. That doesn't matter to me. I'm not insulted by you saying that, but just because I'm fit and I have some muscle show, the amount of times, or my voice is androgynous, it's low. I have a condition called GERD, which is why I have so much vocal fry. But I've always had a low voice for a woman. And the amount of times I've had people come in because my jaw is sharp, my voice is androgynous, and I have muscle. They're like, "Oh, you pass really well." I'm like, I'm not passing as anything.
Funny enough, the one time I think I've had someone say trans to me was I think when I was actually wearing a lot of makeup and my hair was down.
Yeah. I was
because
gonna mention.
it's something with oh, you look like you're trying this hard or something. It's
Or
they have
birthday
some little
makeup.
measure. Yeah. It's
That's
very
a
strange.
term that I learned about relatively recently. It was birthday makeup and how men hate birthday makeup because
What is birthday makeup? What the
it's
hell?
really, really done up makeup. It's a sharp contour. It's very done up brows. It is colorful eyeshadow. It's a bold lip.
So typical influencer makeup?
Think like the makeup that I used to do when I was living in Oz, where I had like neon green or neon orange and black, or sunset makeup, which is pinks, oranges, and purples, like things that could never be considered a natural look. And for some reason, I think because guys think that women who are wearing clean girl makeup aren't actually wearing makeup, they think that that's overdone because that's too done up. And that's where I think we get the split, where they're like, we guys don't like girls with a lot of makeup. Yes, you do.
Mm-hmm.
You just like girls with makeup that makes it look like they're not wearing makeup.
Yes.
I mean, I guess it's to each its own. And when it comes to the what you're to the guy and stuff, because there are guys
Oh, I
who
agree.
want
But yes,
girls
guys
who
that
want
think
more
that
done
they like
up.
these girls that look natural, but really it's still done up. It's just done up in a very specific way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you haven't seen them otherwise, so you don't know what they look like without it.
I
And
have
when
seen-
no. And when they take off their makeup, they might still remember what you said about like you can get stuff done to your eyebrows, your eyelashes, so they
Mhm.
always look more.
You can get a
alive
little
and
lip
perky
filler,
in
get a
there.
little cheek filler.
Mhm. And
Well,
so
I've
they'll
been
do
in the
like
military,
these little
so-
things, and then on top of that, they might have just like a little bit of stuff on to kind of like unredden or whatever. And so then they come in and they look like they're not wearing makeup, but they have all of these small tweaks that add up to be like this natural face. So I think a lot of men haven't seen as many natural faced women on the internet as they think they have.
Yeah, and Della, I think that you're an outlier in this regard. I think that because you have been in the military and you've touched grass and you've seen women in the wild, you understand that women's faces are not their face-tuned Instagram baddie look. But there are a lot of men that have always existed on the internet, who have always viewed women through the lens of influencers, and I hate to say it, but porn stars. And they see
And
these
you're not wrong.
these gals. They see these gals, and they think that that's the standard, and it is so not. Average women don't look like that.
I'm not going to disagree with you guys there, because I agree, because there's a lot of guys who do have that, as Matt says, the porn brain, and like you see these girls on Instagram and the filters, and that's why now like the newer iPhones and Samsung phones are coming out with just filters. We are being sold a lie, and the thing is to lie to everybody to look at us. We look one way, but we're not. I mean, it started with Photoshop way back in the days. Make your waist smaller, make your head, do all that stuff. Now you got the Snapchat filters. There's all
Eventually,
filters
we're
because
gonna have it on
we
these
don't like the way
recording
we look.
programs. We're gonna have it on
Yeah,
here
so-
eventually, and then nobody's gonna look naked faced anymore.
Yeah.
We'll have like the little eyes. It'll look like I'm
It's
wearing
it's,
mascara when
it's
I'm
come down to
not.
like the Surrogates movie
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
But I get it. I know the product, you sell the product. The product has to look pretty and clean and hot and sexy, or whatever is selling, whatever your selling point is, that's great. But all I say to Matt is like, you look fine without it. You look fine. I barely like, I don't know, I probably never caught you when you're like all like glamored and stuff, but from what I've seen you in
I think
person,
maybe my birthday.
we do this.
You might, because I think I did it.
No,
up
you
in-
had the night. You had the dress and
and,
everything.
yeah.
You had the sparkle. You was done up.
Birthday makeup.
Yeah, birthday makeup, exactly. Now I still don't do it up. Like I've only had I've never even done like fake lashes. Like I've done magnetic maybe twice, and I think for a wedding someone did the sticky ones, and I've like that. I'm just very low maintenance with that stuff. I've not tried
I
any
do
of it.
cosplay and stuff, so I've got the contacts, I've got the fake lashes. I know how to contour a nose to make it not look like my nose, which I love my
Awesome.
nose, so that doesn't matter to me.
No, that's
But
so
like,
cool.
I often do not contour my nose at all. It's my cheekbones that I'll contour. But the whole thing surrounding it is very interesting, because you are selling a package, right? But if you have always looked a certain way, like if you've always rocked the no makeup, like tomboy look or whatever, you're gonna have an audience that is there for that. But as a generality, from what I've seen from the denizens of the gaming industry, they want their women to look like the video game characters they want to play too. They want your Stellar Blades. You want the Lara Croft. You don't like, and the fact of the matter is, we're seeing it too in increase in graphics in video games too. People freaking out about Siri, who looks amazing, by the way, because she doesn't look like a Stellar Blade like hot model. Sorry, my cat is yelling at my door.
Yeah, I was kind of confused, like which one of us cats is that?
my
Because we all have
cat.
cats. It was like, is it Matt's cat? Is it her?
It's
Is it
Bug.
mine?
He wants in. And then people were freaking out about Aloy having peach fuzz on her face. Really?
They've just
So-
never been
She's got a
close to a
beard.
woman before. They've
So
never been
that's why-
close to a woman's face.
So I'm
Yeah,
glad
you're
you brought that up.
self-reporting, man.
I'm pretty glad you brought that up because here's the thing. Here's what my stance on that. Now, we all can agree with the with when we play video games, it's escapism, it's all that stuff and everything. When I saw the Aloy and it, like she had a peach fuzz, I'm just like, that's natural, that's fine.
Yeah, it's a
The
face.
thing is, when they start switching the character models and she's like, and her face just seems off, I'm just like, what was the call for that? And like, why is that happening? Like, why are we changing her to fit, to look, like, you know, to fit somebody that wouldn't be look that way in that world that it is
Sure.
like good. So when I say that is this, it's a caveman type world, right? She's always hunting, active, and there's scarcity of food. She'll look kind of muscular. She'll look very thin. True or false? Am I wrong just for thinking that?
I think it would depend on the scarcity of food. If it's really scarce, then she's gonna have a leaner build potentially, but genes play a huge part in that, whether or not you're more stout or you're more slender. Like actually, fun fact, if you have more Neanderthal in you than Homo sapien, you are more likely to have like stouter statures because they were stouter, but they were also more muscular. So my family has like 96 or 7% more Neanderthal than Homo sapien than the average person.
Wow.
And so I'm very short, but my shoulders are 40 inches across. My hips are like 40 inches around. You know, like, no, not 40 inches across, you know what I mean? But like my measurements are quite wide for how short I am. I'm 5'1", and if you were to measure across my shoulders, that's most of my height. That's kind of weird. Like I've got quite broad features, but that also means that I show muscle differently. And that maybe that's why I was getting those comments from random men on the internet deciding that I, you know, was transitioned. You know, is because I have different proportions. So that could play a factor in there. But I do think that historical recognition is important. Also, I will say, if we're talking about escapism, I do think that we have moved a little too far over to the side. I want to be a hot babe. Let me be a hot babe. Don't make that the default if you don't want to, but
Correct.
allow me to be the hot babe because I want a character that looks like me. I have fake tits. I have an hourglass figure. I know these things about myself. I would like to play me. And I'm not allowed to do that because you're not like the biggest, like, was it Veilguard? You can make a beautiful face.
Yeah.
The Dragon Age game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry.
But like with the adjustments for like back end and chest were abysmal. Like I don't need Saints Row style like sex appeal sliders, but like there was no true ability to make yourself be like that hot chick, you know.
So they
or even
said
just
that because
chick, like having like actual representation, because sometimes they'll go so far in the other direction where it's like, oh well, now you've tried to unsexualize women so much they don't even look like women anymore. Like
Yeah,
but
and not that
See,
they,
they
don't look
said
like
that was
women, but there are
unrealistic
women who
for everything.
aren't even in the running anymore because they've taken away those features. And there's
And even if
women
you
of
wanna
every
say-
type, you know.
Even if you want to say unrealistic, it's not like I went crazy large with like my, like if we're talking, you know, realism and natural. I just did mention that I had a breast augmentation. Mine were not like small when they were natural. So this was purely because I was starting to work out and eat really healthy, and I noticed that that was the first thing to go because I build upper body muscle quite well, and so my fat reserves were not in my stomach. They were not in and I'm a pear shaped naturally, so I'm holding on to the fat on my thighs and my ass and stuff, but I'm not holding on to it up top. And I didn't like that those were being taken from me by me choosing to eat healthier and be healthier, so I got them done. But so my natural figure would still be that of larger than what we're doing in video games, right? Because we are trying to go the opposite way, and I appreciate what they're doing, but what we're seeing is a boss babification of female protagonists where they're all that quirky, did I just do that, with a very athletic build, and you're like, that's not what girls are either.
No,
so
it's not.
That's pretty funny because it's crazy because so pause, rewind. The people who are making women into these boss babes are women. The people who are making women into these badass, sexy, hardcore, they could do anything, but they're sexy at the same time, are men and some women. Let's focus on Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade just came to PC, and we all know when things touch PC, the mod community goes crazy. So the outfits and everything in Stellar Blade have been almost to nothing, straight hentai porn stuff. If you want, it's crazy.
I've modded Fallout and Oblivion.
But
I know some body mods.
At the same time, the people who made Stellar Blade, the developers, we love it, we like it, keep doing it, we love it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the Asian culture is so funny to me because I remember I think the guy, you ever seen the guy who made Dead or Alive? He wears shades, he looks very punkish and stuff. And in Dead or Alive, he said I like the boobs to bounce more. Dead or Alive had jiggle physics for boobs.
Okay, in Dead or Alive 5, they move in a wave form. They're ridiculous in 5.
But you could adjust the jiggle physics. You could adjust it to minimum or maximum. So the boobs just going everywhere. So
they got a mind of their own.
But the thing is, a lot of Japanese and Asian creators and developers say we like making women like this because we like seeing women dress up as it and everything. Mm-hmm. So it's you can't there's hot women in video games, and then there's hot women in real life that dress up as them, and they make money from that. And it's you can't be mad at what people like and what brings in the coin and stuff. And it's just what it is. But when you start taking away sexy women, and it's just you're just ostracizing the whole group of women there. There's ugly men. I haven't seen a game with ugly men yet. And when the guys are ugly, they're cock diesel. You don't hear guys sitting there going that's an unrealistic version of a guy. No guy looks like that. No guy talks like that. We just go.
I think it's because of the social connection. I think it's because then men will translate these female video game characters and go, well, why doesn't XYZ girl down the street look like that? She should look like that.
So with that right there being said, when it comes to content creation, in the early days of Twitch, when we had the superpowers of Amaranth, who was coming back to Twitch, Pokemon, Caseytron, who else was it? Pink Sparkles, and all those girls who were just straight boobs and sex on Twitch, right? That drew in people. And then when you go into Twitch certain sections, it's that's what you see. As so if me as a young teenage boy who goes on Twitch and I see 10 girls just straight sex appeal, and I go to my 11th girl, I'm gonna expect the same thing. So with that being said, do you feel sometimes that's it's harmful to the industry in a way, and it can kind of put that kind of thing in guys' brains? It's all girls on Twitch are hot and sexy and just porn star looking, so that should be the standard.
I think it's a feedback loop. I think what happens is these women do themselves up in a certain way, Mad mentioned and I mentioned, because you're selling a product and you have to look a certain way to attract new traction. And then because they do attract that new traction, Twitch takes notice, and they're money makers for the site. And without them, the money, the revenue flow decreases, so they want to promote them more. So then that's what you're seeing on your front page. You're seeing that on your front page because they're money makers. And then because they're getting more exposure as a result, they're going to continue to make more money for the site. It's just a cycle. If you were to eliminate those on the front page as a whole, I think from the start, I think you would see a decrease in the flaming of women that are wearing more natural looks.
Okay. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that you bring up the whole thing with Twitch's revenue and everything, because recently Dan Clancy just revealed that most of their viewer support and revenue is coming from the viewers and the subs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and at the same time, it's just that Amazon, the main holder of Twitch, has actually been losing money. They lost $2 billion alone because of Twitch. And this
a lot of corporations are playing money games like that, to be fair.
Yeah, but $2 billion
until you're making a ton of money, you don't want to be making any money because it's a whole thing.
Yeah, but Twitch is like the
don't like to pay their bills.
Yeah,
so
Twitch is also a superpower.
Yeah, there's a whole thing though, but like I think people overestimate how much things need to be profitable to be running in corporations.
Well, the thing is, like, if you look at Twitch,
money. Oh, okay, sure.
If you look at Twitch, like a couple of years ago, it was just like hand over fist with money. You know, everybody was like eating on Twitch, right? Not everybody, but like the people at the top, and they had those big deals. Everybody was getting like $30+ million and everything. And you know what started happening when they cut those contracts? Nobody was getting the same amount of money. And then when they start doing the apocalypse, because of certain the streamers, they started to lose a lot of their sponsors or like whatever people that want to have the ad revenue on there. So now a lot of people are starting to worry because it's like if it keeps losing money, Twitches could eventually go belly up, and it's just be like, well, it is what it is. Because if you look at it now, it's just like whoever could get the scraps when it comes to Twitch, and like
I think
a lot
I
of
can
people
speak to that a little bit though,
Okay.
as to why it's kind of moving the way that it's moving. I think that there was an unfortunate precedence and expectation that was set not only by Amazon and Twitch as a corporate, but on the streamer side as well when COVID had its impact. Because I know firsthand that during COVID, I was experiencing the best surge of my income was really good. My concurrent viewership was really good. And it was because there was nowhere else to stimulate the economy because people were stuck at home. And so people were spending all of their fun going out money and their eating out money and their, whatever money on content creators because we were their entertainment. When the world opened back up again, I don't know why these things weren't predicted, or maybe they were, and that's why Twitch is still running with Tubi down, but the expectation that I would stay at a 500 concurrent streamer was an unrealistic one. Now, mentally, that still is awful to deal with as a creator because you're like, man, I've fallen off. But that's not the case. People are back into the world. And revenue can't necessarily be looked at on a year to year with big companies like this when we're having so much strife around the world, whether it be COVID or political strife or wars or social strife. There's so many things that go into the profitability of international companies. And this pandemic certainly put us on a path to have an extreme high and an extreme low, and we're just now feeling that, I think.
I also think it also plays into like there's more competition when it comes to it. Like if you look at like Kick has like been a lot of people have been moving over to Kick and kind of jumping back to Twitch after like their contract is up. Like I said, Amaranth is going back to Twitch because she made 38 mil on Kick and was like, all right, I'm done, contract's done, I'm going back to
I can't blame them. Like I may not like Kick as a platform, but if I just because of the user like experience, I don't really look into, like, I'm not a gambler, so that's not something that's in my field of view. When I was over there for the small amount of time that I was experimenting with it, I wasn't harassed or made to feel some sort of way. I got my partner badge by talking with the talking with like the creators and stuff when they were starting to get things going. I have no issue with it as a platform, just as a whole. But people, if I was offered hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars to switch to Kick for a few years, that's life-changing money. Yeah, I'm taking it. And then I'll move back if I feel like my numbers dipped, because it wouldn't matter while I'm over there. If I was streaming to 4 people, I am under contract to make millions of dollars. And if that means that, you know, when I go back to Twitch, I'm going to have to rebuild again, well, if I'm doing this properly, I've got a nest egg that allows me to do that.
Yeah, and I feel like you're very sensible on that, because a lot of people don't see that. Because I remember when Kick started, a lot of people were like kind of upset, like, oh, they're going over to Kick for money, and then, you know, that's how much, you know, they care about money more than the community and stuff. And it's like, sometimes you gotta think.
I can't
exactly.
I can't care about my community if I'm broke and unable to stream.
Yeah,
exactly. Like
that's exactly it.
You guys, some people don't make smart financial moves. Like the Kick streamer who was saying, like, I forgot who it was. Some streamer in Kick was like, oh, I think he said he can't stream on Kick because the ad revenue, he was only making $1,200
in 9 hours.
In 9 hours.
Yeah.
After 9 hours, you made $1,200. He's like, that's not.
Phase kid. Right.
Yeah, that's not sustainable to me. It's like, you're making $1,200 in 9 hours.
How much money you're spending on a daily basis? That's
There's people who don't make $1,200 in freaking 40 hours of working.
He wasn't even talking to that chat. Like it wasn't taking any work.
But the thing is, but here's the thing: people who are smooth-brained and are cracked in the head will sit there and go, you know what? He is right. His time is worth money, and $1,200 every 9 hours is not that great. Like, you obviously live in
just a marketing ploy, if we're being honest.
Live in the land of make believe, or like you think like money is just
for the shock value. Like that's
I get it. I get it, but like there's people who believe that. I mean, there's people who think they can make more money in DoorDash than streaming on Kick.
No.
I mean, like it depends on what. Like, if you have no viewers and no money, yeah, I mean, you can
sure, because it's the same sort of platform. You're selling a product, and the product is you. And if people aren't biting, you're gonna make no money.
Yeah,
but like DoorDash pays so poorly. Like people do not understand that.
I tried Kick at the when it was pretty early on, and I got some viewers and a little bit of money, and it's nice but I barely got anything, right? It's just it didn't have the same culture. It hadn't built that up, and the type of content I do just isn't Kick. So I kept multi-streaming on there for a while, and nothing. I would get like 1 viewer over there. It was crazy. So it's just not the same thing.
It just depends. I would actually be interested. I'd be interested in trying it out again just to see, like, and maybe not trying to push my community to go over there and hang out with me, because I fully recognize that my Twitch community likes Twitch. That's why they're there. Yep. So I think that when the idea is to bring viewership away from Twitch and onto Kick, then you're gonna have some troubles with that. But if you tailor your Kick streams, let's say, to a Kick-centered audience, then I think you're gonna find more success than you expect. Yeah. But if you're expecting it to be Twitch, it won't be.
Right.
With what's happening with Twitch with a lot of stuff, especially with some of its larger content creators, especially like Hassan and his rest of his peanut gallery, like just saying things without any remorse and getting away with murder, and how we see Twitch would just switch their guidelines to like cover their asses when things happen, and a lot of people start to like walk away from Twitch because it's like they're screwing over the smaller creators because of the actions of bigger content creators. So it's like
it's also people just looking at stuff that has nothing to do with them. Like at the end of the day, I get on Twitch, my community's there, I like my community, and I get back off, or I watch somebody that I rated, and that's it. That's my Twitch.
I get what you're saying.
So like it doesn't matter. I don't know why people care
you
about
have to understand
many things that have nothing to do with them all the time. That's exhausting.
But you also got to understand, like if because of the actions of a few affect the many. You've all heard of that. So
Sure. I mean,
you can be
it
doing
might affect your viewership, or it might affect like your ad revenue. It might affect but like all of this altruistic nonsense, if we're being honest, where it's like, well, I'm not going to be on this platform because they do this. It's like, okay, but that doesn't affect you. And if you start playing that game and you want to be altruistic, it's going to be a snowball effect on everything you do. So it's just like, for me, I'm just like, they're all bad. They're all going to have these awful things happening. I'm not going to pay attention. I'm just going to do me, focus on that.
yeah,
I think
get
it's also
that.
interesting to notice that a lot of these people, the problems that they're having with platforms like Kick, they have created like solving measures for that. Like people are like, "Oh, I don't want to see gambling. I don't want to see like women with their tits out." There is content preferences. You can hide that. You can hide pools, hot tubs, and bikinis. You can hide slots and casinos, and you can hide VR chat. If you don't want to see VR chat, you can hide that if you want to. So though I understand that the backers, the creators of Kick, are of the slots and casino persuasion, if you're not participating in that, sure, you can call it dirty money if you want to, and that is well within your right. If you don't want to be on the platform, don't be on the platform. What I don't like is when people are demonizing other people for trying to make a living. If you were struggling that hard on Twitch and you go over to Kick and you start playing, you're just doing your normal thing, you're streaming as if you were streaming on Twitch, and you just happen to capture an audience, and people are then mad at you for making a livable wage. I don't know what they want out of that. You pay me then. You pay me to stay on Twitch.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
I will stay
people-
on Twitch. I need to survive. I need to eat. I need to pay my bills. I need to house myself. I'm not going to play into the altruistic game with people who have more money than sense.
Yeah, that I honestly feel like, it's not only in the streaming world, it's also like in the real world, because in the insurance industry, you know how much money people make in the insurance industry? They make hand over fist in money. Like I give myself like 2 more years in the industry I'm in and switching over into the insurance side, because it's getting harder to live no matter where you are in the United States. It's getting harder, and like you got to be able to support yourself at the end of the day. A lot of people say, I don't want to do insurance because it's blood money. What money isn't blood money at this point? Somebody's supporting something that you don't like, that you don't agree with. You're getting money somehow. Everything is blood money if you think about it. Insurance, is it blood money? 100% yes, because nobody wants to get paid out of it and stuff. But it's just like, what are you doing for yourself in the future? Do you want to stay where you are now, or do you want to make better for yourself? Sometimes you got to work in fields that, may not be your thing for a little bit, get the experience, and then jump ship.
Yeah.
Like, that's how business works. There are people who make lifelong careers and stay at one job. That works for them, but it doesn't work for anybody. There's a lot of successful people who make a lot of money. They go from career to career to career, and then finally land the one that they blow up in and stuff. So it's just kind of stupid. Like when it comes to Twitch, Kick, YouTube, and everything, everybody's kind of like, oh, I bleed purple, I bleed green, and it's like, you bleed for what? What are you bleeding for? Like, make your money. That's it. Stop worrying about what Tom, Dick, and Harry are saying, because Tom, Dick, and Harry isn't going to pay your bills.
Yeah, and if it's not people
when
who
shit
even
hits
care
the
about
fan,
money, where are you having fun? Whatever it is that you want, where is that working? Don't listen to anybody else.
Exactly.
That's where all the drama comes from, is people just like infighting about stupid nonsense. It's like, it's not anybody's business. Just do your own thing.
It sucks, because I know like some streamers get so caught up in what their community wants for them, and it's like, at some point it's just like your community is controlling you.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be like that. Have you ever experienced that, where you feel like your community is trying to control you and like telling you to like say things like, oh, you need to speak on this, you got to play this game, you shouldn't play this game, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that?
Thankfully, I've always kind of held the policy that I just say nothing, because I don't want my influence on people. I want people to do their research. I want them to come to their own conclusions. I don't think that there's been a thing that I've ever spoken out on in a public setting outside of live on my stream. Like, I don't tolerate, prejudices in general. I like that person's life has nothing to do with you. Your life is not made worse by them existing. So fuck off with that. But on the content creation side of things, I am very much controlled by my community and what they want to watch and what they want to see. Now, if you don't like my personality, then you can kick rocks. I'll show you the door. But content, again, we're talking about selling a product and the product being us. You very quickly find out that there are some core audience members that are there for you, but the vast majority of people want to watch you play this game. They want you to do this thing. And when you're not doing that thing, they will leave. And they may leave for good if you just stop doing that thing. Like when I stopped playing Sea of Thieves is the only thing I ever played, my viewership tanked because I was doing things I wanted to do. I started playing the Yakuza series, which I adore, and my numbers progressively as time went on just got worse and worse and worse. The more fun I was having playing something new, the less people showed up for me. And that sucked. That was a really hard thing to come to terms with and to feel, because everyone feels like their community is going to stick around. My community's not like that. They're going to keep hanging out with me because they're here for me. They've told me so. And they're not. They have the best of intentions. Some of them are. I have core audience members that you've seen, Della, whenever you've popped in. You've seen a lot of the same names because they are my core audience and I can play whatever I want to those people. But those people aren't going to pay my bills. There are certain streamers that can play anything because they're a personality. The best example of that to me is Germa985. He is a lightning in a bottle type of content creator. He can play Nancy Drew
I love that
to
series. That's such a good series.
14,000 people. And he's so funny and he's such an amazing creator. He's like what I think people should want to be as a creator. He is engaging in his community, even though it is running at a mile a minute. Like he's just a really good creator, and people are there for him because he's a character, because he's a personality. If you are just being you and wanting to hang out with people and play a game, good luck being variety at this point.
That kind of is like, I kind of just hate like how that kind of is just like, you have to like be a dancing monkey to people and stuff, and it's like dance monkey dance. And I've seen you sometimes like people tell people off, like you're not the type of person to sit there and it's like take crap. You told people off many times. I've seen it like firsthand and everything. And I going back to like the whole thing with looks in the industry and everything. When Mad put that question out to the world, like which do guys prefer, it was like everybody seemed to like lose their mind. Like she asked like which came first, the chicken or the egg, and like she made a comment about she made a very sensible comment saying like, oh, this goes back into the conversation me and Della have about looks mattering and guys liking girls with makeup.
Yep.
Yeah.
And from the like clockwork, from the woodwork, the sweatiest, smelliest troglodytes of men came out of the woodwork and was like, you should have stuck to your Fortune 500 job. And, oh, look, it's always this. It's like just being insulting, like as if she said, all men should jump off a bridge.
Yeah, it's immediately
it's like,
that way.
Like,
yep. And that's why,
like,
and there's like a math to it almost too, because you're always going to get that with those type of, like if you mention anything about your own looks and you're talking to somebody else and you're not even talking to them and it has nothing to do with them, they're always going to chime in if you say anything about your looks, right? They still might, even if you don't, but there's a certain like math to like who will and like what your looks are for that. So when you say, oh, you look fine, I'm like, to this like certain math equation out there where, yeah, I'm probably not going to be picked on, right? Because I don't have certain traits that are as picked on as much. And that's not necessarily anything to do with attractiveness or anything else. It's just like all of these things that are like basically a math equation. And so it's like, I get that. Like, I'm not going to be bullied as much as some people, but it doesn't mean I'm also not getting bonus points. You know, there's like a sliding scale, and I'm like not going to get bonus points because I'm not trying, right? And so it's just there's always that math. And so men might be like, yeah, I love natural women, but are they supporting natural women? No, because if they were, there would be more naturally looking women at the top. And there aren't. There just aren't.
No, there aren't. They're all done up. And there's nothing wrong with them being done up. I want that to be abundantly clear on my end of things. I think those done up women are doing what they need to get the bag. And if it's because, you know, weak men who see big doe eyes and fake tits want to throw their wallets at their screens, fucking get that bag, girl.
Get it.
Listen, I always tell guys like,
and that's the thing, right? It's like I'm not doing that, and yes, I could be, and so I do feel like I'm sometimes doing a disservice to some of the content that I put out there because I'm like, well, I'm not putting on that show, but that's not what I want to be known for anyway. So it's like, so I don't put as much focus on it, but I still am mathematically doing myself and any of my content a disservice when I don't put on that show, because that is what the expectation is set for.
I like how you said that, you know, get in the bag with those girls, like, you know, doing it. And it's like, I hate that guys sit there and attack women who are doing it. It's like, you can't attack them. They're the product. Who you should be mad at the dudes throwing the money at them.
Yeah, like that's not. Also, maybe don't be mad at them either, because like it's not your money. They're not grabbing your wallet and making you sub to that person. If they want to sub and be like gooners about that shit, let them, man. What does it do to you?
Yep.
We don't goon over here, gentlemen. We don't goon. Don't goon. They don't like you. You're just being sold a lie.
To be honest, I don't
they
even know what
they
that
don't
word
like
means.
you.
I really don't. I know so little pop culture, dude.
What do you mean?
I don't know what goon means. I'm gonna be honest.
You know what gooning is?
No.
Well,
no,
let me
I
teach
hear
you
people
something.
say it. I you know me. I don't do pop culture.
Gooning
I live in my little
is
world.
how you put gooning in a simple. It's a new simp. It's a new simp, but it's in a simp in the extreme where like I'm going to simp over you while manipulating myself to you constantly, and I need more and more of it. So that's what pretty much.
It's like the parasocial man final boss.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. All right.
So now imagine guys simping over you, Mad. There's men out there simping over you. Now there's men that have this fantasy of you constantly.
There's a lot more to simp over because there's the girls that are putting on the shows for that.
Oh my God! See, this is what I'm talking about.
See, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
I'm like,
because I'm not
I give Mad a compliment, and she's like, yeah, but you know.
You're missing the point. You're missing the point.
I get the point. I get the point, but
math equation, and I'm not playing the math equation.
I understand that, but you are my homie, right? Mm-hmm. We are cool. Mm-hmm. When you put yourself down, I want to strike you.
Okay, but it's not that. It's not. It's not putting myself down. It's saying I'm not putting myself in that place for them to want that.
That is putting yourself down.
No woman has that as her natural. Like very few. There might be a few, but there is almost no woman on the planet that in her supernatural state goes on the internet and gets the simps.
I get what you're saying.
So it's not me putting myself down. It's just the nature of the industry, you know?
But here's what I'm saying. I get what you're saying. I'm picking up and dropping. I understand it. I'm tracking 100%. Yeah. But if I give you a compliment and then you rebuttal with, well, so that's putting yourself down. No, it's like me going to Smexy. Like,
no, because
it's like if I go Smexy.
I'm looking at it from a nerdy like math equation perspective.
And I'm looking at this as a homie. Look at that. If I go Smexy, yo Smexy, you looking strong today. Yo, your traps are looking crazy. Look at your back and everything. You looking swole, cut up. And she goes,
well, if your muscles
I could be bigger.
If you have
it's like you just put yourself
down.
Sure,
that's different. I'm talking about like when I know for sure I have not put on the show and I am not looking that way. Like I'm just like, sure, all right, Dayla.
You put on the show all the time. Look at that smile. Smexy, look at that smile. Look at her smile. Look, zoom it. Make sure you zoom in on that big smile of hers. Zoom in on that smile. I think that's like the one quality of Matt, like everybody like attracts to. Like you have this like smile that stands out. Like, you know, like every time I see you, it's like you have this big smile and it's showing all the teeth, and it's like, oh, she has a really nice smile. It stands out. That's what I know you for. Right?
Okay.
And you're never gonna smile again now. It's like-
Never. No, I can't help it. It just happens.
Yeah, but it's like
Can't
that's
help
your thing. That's your thing. I'm like, yo, with the first thing I think if you ask anybody who knows you, what's the first thing they recognize about you is your
I'm
smile.
insane.
She has that
Oh,
smile.
okay.
Okay, well, it's like people with me. What do you know Della for? Oh, he's bald. That's it. That's
Well,
all I
in
get.
real
He's
life, people
bald.
know me as short, but the internet, you can't really tell.
What,
Yeah,
what do I
keep
know?
getting told that I've got tall girl energy. I'm like,
Yes.
guys, I'm 5'1".
Yep.
Well, I met Smexy in real life, and like
I'm
I was shocked
itty-bitty.
like how small she was. I was like,
I'm
oh,
small. Yeah.
hi. But she carries herself very well, strong, very like assertive. Like you can't. I doubt anybody would cross your path in a wrong way because you'll probably kill them. But like, what would people say about you, Smexy? Like if when people mention Smexy, I'm like, oh, she plays a Yakuza a lot, and she has a pig.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know Smexy because of a pig. I'm like, oh, the pig. She has like a pig.
Yeah,
I
my
think the whole thing's-
emotes.
Yeah, so like that's what I know Smexy for. What I know Matt for, smiles. Everybody has something that stands out about them. And again, Matt, your smile, great. Your looks, fantastic. Don't put yourself down. This is a compliment from your homie. Take it, absorb it.
Uh-huh.
That's it. Don't say, well, I'm not playing the game.
Well, I'm
Because you're
not
going to play
playing
the
the
game
game.
and my foot is going to go up your ass. Stop it. Jesus Christ.
It's like
Smexy, don't.
It's like
Don't think-
it's
take
like
this
if I
wrong.
was
We're just this is how we are.
Imagine
That's so
playing
fine.
any game wrong. Like imagine I'm I don't know. I can't even think of a good analogy for it, but like if I was speed running Animal Crossing, you're like, look at your awesome decor. Like you did so good at that, I wasn't trying. It's not that good. You know what I mean?
See, this is what I mean. God, I want to. One day, just. Speaking of like trying in life, okay, I got two lovely ladies with me here, right? Two lovely ladies. You guys finding a male suitor or female suitor, whatever suitor you want, isn't hard for you guys, right?
Are you kidding me?
I've had mixed bags. I think
Okay.
I can find a boyfriend just fine, but it's not necessarily the right one.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I
but-
could've
but-
accepted
I
the guy
found
that
the
stopped
right
his
one
car
this
today,
time, but like.
there was a guy that stopped his car and hollered at me as I like. He's like, "You're really pretty," as I'm like walking by with my food. I mean, sure, yeah, I could go get that guy's car. That would be a terrible idea.
So-
but I
so
could,
great, so
you know?
great.
Such a bad
But
idea.
That's not exactly the suitor I'm looking for either, is it?
So okay, good. That's good. For bald, ugly guys like me, it's a little harder. Sometimes we gotta go to alternate route and get AI significant others, like this one guy did, where he. So let's give you a backstory. This guy has a girlfriend and a 3-year-old, right, with this woman. They're not married,
Kiddo?
but he has shed tears of joy and happiness for 30 minutes straight because the AI girlfriend he has said yes to him in a marriage.
Ugh.
And there's this whole debate where, like, you ever seen the movie Her?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, this is where we're at in life now, where men in relationships are proposing to their AI girlfriends. And the thing is, like, if you watch this 9-minute special, like the girlfriend is sitting there just like, oh, it's whatever, and all this thing. And it's just like, we have got to the point where we rather be with a artificial intelligence that's going to tell us everything we want to hear
Yep.
and create relationships. And it's just
Well,
so
because
weird. Like,
it's
could you
because
be-
people don't want like complexity in their life.
but
And
but
AI
but
is
how
gonna
would you
be
feel?
simple. They're gonna do whatever you want, which is in itself really messed up when you think about it. It's like, oh, it's gonna tell you what you want. It's gonna do what you want.
Yeah,
It's
I
gonna
don't want to
be what
have
you
to
want.
be
That's-
challenged at all.
But how would you feel if the guy or girl you were with just was like, I'm in love with my artificial intelligence.
They're
I'm
no
breaking up
longer
you."
with me.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, because that's somebody who wants to be manipulative over other people. If they want something that's going to be perfect for them rather than something that is like a human that is flawed and you love them because of their flaws, not in spite of them, but because of them. If you can't love flaws in someone else, it means you're not loving the flaws in yourself either, and you have some deep internal rooted stuff you need to work out.
And let's get down to brass tacks here. Women consume so much smut in reading form, but that doesn't mean that we're going to go start trying to hook up with the author. We're not going to go try and make this person in like Chat GPT and fall in love with them.
I don't know, because there is a dark side of the internet where there are women, like, when the 50 Shades of Grey thing happened, they were looking for their own Christian Grey. And, with how things are in the VR chat, women are looking for a muscular werewolf guy to bang them until they're
Having fantasies about fictional characters are different than manifesting it into life and acting like they love you.
But they're doing that now with AI. They're doing it. Men and women are doing it now with AI, where they're making their perfect AI. They're generating their perfect AI partner.
Which,
and
like,
having relationships.
I think that in general is out of touch and needs to be examined on a psychological level that none of us are qualified educationally to unpack. But I think that Mad hit it nail on the head. Men are, quote unquote, resorting to this because they're tired of the women in their lives having opinions about the things that they want to do to them.
I just think, with everything, because I can agree, like, dating in 2025 and being in a relationship in 2025 is like really, really weird now.
There's
because,
a lack of social accountability. People would rather be in quote unquote situationships because that means they don't have to commit.
Correct. And I mean, there's just a recent article in the New York Times called, it's like in the modern love section. It's called Men, Where Have You Gone? Please Come Back. And it says, so many men have retired from intimacy, hiding behind firewalls, filters, curated personas, dabbling and scrolling. We miss you. And it's funny because when you go on any social media platform, there's always like this great divide between men and women. You have the social media influencers who say, men suck, all men are bad, men are loaded gun. Then you have male saying, women only want one thing from you. They want to take advantage of you and this and that and not be submissive and all that stuff. So there's like this whole divide between men and women. So younger men and younger women are just like, we don't know what to do. They're creating parasocial relationships, and it's scary. That's how some of these parasocial relationships get, because you have guys stalking women online, and you have some women falling for catfishes who they believe is their favorite actor, and they're sending them all this money to. So now it's down to, I'm going to get this AI girlfriend of my favorite streamer or AI boyfriend of my favorite anime boy character. Whereas it's like, now we're really living in her situation, where it's like, why be with a real person? I can have my AI girlfriend or boyfriend, sex robot, that I could be with all day.
I have another theory about that, actually.
What's that?
And I think that when we talk about men creating their ideal woman, it's because they want to play out their sexual fantasies for the most part. They want a yes woman. They want the woman to fall head over heels for them and, yeah, do that to me. I would love that. Da 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 da. There are so many women who are escaping into these sides of the internet out of safety because men are scary. And that AI, Christian Grey or whoever, isn't going to force me to do anything I don't want to do. They're not going to make me feel bad. They're not going to make me feel subhuman. I've had partners, I don't know if you were aware of this, Della, but a few years back, I had come out during Pride as asexual. I don't identify with that anymore, but I have a long history of sexual trauma. And so I ended up having to go into therapy, and I went through a thing called EMDR, which is a psychotherapy where you watch a dog go back and forth and relive memories to help flush out PTSD. After doing that, I have since realized that that's not something I identify with anymore. It's just that I need to find compatible people that understand where I'm coming from, understand that I've got these issues, right? And my partner understands those issues and he's very good about being aware of me and aware of what I'm doing and where I'm at mentally. We're very communicative about everything, and we have a good sex life. So it's not that I was necessarily asexual, but I was put in a position by partners previously that made me feel like I must be, because I'm not doing what they want. And I was told that it felt like I was their roommate when I was doing everything else except for putting out. So I think that if we're talking about the AI thing, right?
Somebody would see
We
that as a
have
flaw,
men dipping
right?
into it because they don't feel like they're
Yeah.
getting enough, and we can loop that back into porn addiction and people's viewpoints on what women are to men. But we're seeing women dipping into the fictional romances because those people can't physically hurt us.
Yeah. And so like where men see, or just in general, people see something as a flaw, and they're like, well, an AI is not going to have that flaw, but a person will. And so instead of having a mentality of like, oh, because generally if you really love someone, you love their flaw, like you love them like wholly, right? Like the
As a
whole
whole,
deal,
yeah.
right? And if you want to change and grow together, great, but like you don't just accept their flaws, you love their flaws, you love them for the person that they are and the ways that they mess up, and like that's just, you have that connection on that level, and so they don't see these things as flaws anymore, and so it's a totally different mindset, whereas somebody else is going to be like, oh, that's a flaw, I don't want it. And these are the people who I just think aren't capable of that type of love with that person at the very least, right? And it's, I'm sure there's something psychological there, but it's like where people just do not want to accept somebody else's flaws, and AI is not going to solve that for them, because they're going to have something missing in that emotional state where they're not accepting humans. They're not having that empathy for humans and that connection with humans. They're having a connection of something that they're manipulating, which is not, to me, not as I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but it doesn't sound healthy to me,
Yeah,
No,
it's just not with AI relationships, sorry, but it's not just with AI relationships. Sometimes it's like AI friendships too.
Yeah.
Because like you don't want to. We all have friends. We all have friends. Some of us
Yeah.
don't. Some of us do. But there's always like that one person you could go to for things, and even though they're like your best friend, and sometimes you have in your head like, I don't want to bother this person with this, or you don't want to hear certain things from them, because we've all been in a situation where you go to like your best friend or somebody comes to you and you have to sit there and go, here's the harsh truth, and I'm going to tell you the harsh truth, because you being coddled is not helping. Because I have people who come to me and like, I'm afraid to come and tell you things because you're not going to tell me what I want to hear. You're going to tell me what I need to hear. I was like, well, that's how it should be, because when you're coddled and told what you want to hear, you're just not going to like ever grow or like accept. You're just going to be like, okay, whatever, I'm going to do what I want. So also with AI too, is like, I can go to an AI bot at 3 a.m. and say, I suck as a human being. And what is that AI bot going to say? No, you don't. You're a great person. And people should realize that. And you should too. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If you go to a real person and say, I suck, I'm like, yeah, you do. You have some sucky things about you. But you have good qualities about you. I told you a positive and a negative. What most people want to hear is positives, always. Nobody wants to hear negative about themselves. And if you sit there and say you like hearing negatives about yourself, you're a damn liar.
Yeah,
because
no,
AI
but
likes
it has
positive
to do with like a
reinforcement.
critical thinking too. Is like trying to take, like with my not even taking your compliment. Sometimes it's probably just me not like having the mental capacity to deal with that, right? And so that's what people will do if they don't have the mental capacity to deal with something, is they'll just like not, right? And I think people are doing that enough, and instead filling that time with like constant, serotonin of doom scrolling and stuff, right? Instead of dealing with the real world. And I think that's just getting deeper and deeper.
And I don't want to, I want to make another thing extremely clear. I don't want to act like I'm coming on here to be like a man hater or anything. I've actually experienced more problems socially with women than I have with men. Oh. And that's also not me being a pick me either. Yeah. I'm a girl's girl.
No, it's the
but
nuance.
Like,
yeah, it's the
I am not here to hate on men. I'm honestly here to try and bring up my viewpoint or the things that I've experienced around men on the internet in association with anonymity and how that can affect their viewpoints and their treatment of women in this space.
Yep. And many of my closest like friends and confidants are men, and I actually thank them pretty often. I'm like, thank you for making it so that the internet does not make me hate men. Truly, because
it's
like,
trying.
I know these men in real life who are incredible, and I know the men in my chat who are incredible, and I know these people who are just very kind, and it rounds out the fact that not everything is what you see in these spaces on the internet.
I
And
hate
those
both.
people might be kind to people in their real life, you know. It's just and that's what's really scary too, is you know these people who are on the internet living a double life. So
I think it's just funny, especially with this situation, because he has a child with this woman, and he proposed to his girlfriend. I mean, he proposed to his AI girlfriend before he proposes to the woman he's living with for all these years and has a child with. I'm surprised she hasn't
mental weirdness
stabbed him
going on.
in his chest.
there's
because
there's a
anybody
manipulation
with
there for him. It's like he wasn't getting what he thinks he wants from a woman, which is control. Clearly, if you like a robot, right? If you like something that you have full control over more than an actual human, or even as much as an actual human, it's because you're, if I had to guess, because again, not a psychologist, but like it's a control thing. People want more control. We have very little control in this very intense world that we live in these days with everything, right? And so people are grasping where they can have control.
We're gonna go down a dark path right now. Hold on, just bear with me. I'm sorry, we're going down this dark path. I'm speaking from. I'm speaking from my. No, I'm speaking from maybe just myself, but I know there's other people out there like this. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes there are people who have so much control in their regular life when it comes down to their relationships and stuff. They don't want full control. They want to be controlled. Yeah. There are men and women like that, especially when there are men and women, like especially like in boss positions, high positions, that always sometimes go down the path where they want a guy they want a guy or woman to dominate them, in a sexual sense and in a non-sexual sense. Because you know there are people who are like, I'm pretty sure you guys heard the term like pay pigs and stuff.
Yeah,
and
it feels like all
dominated
of that
financially.
Findom.
All of that to me like says unbalance, and not that that's wrong or like you're doing something wrong, but just to me it feels like if you're very intensely into any one thing ever in life, like where it feels almost obsessive, it's probably because you have some unbalance. That's just my perspective. It's not that you're doing anything wrong, but you might want to look and try to rebalance your life a little bit. If you can, you know?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It's just like there's so many people out there that's like they're like, I control people. People fear me and all this stuff. Then you meet somebody and they're like, I'm not scared of you. You need to shut up and everything. And you're just like, wait.
And they're like, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, like there's guys who date girls or with women who are like 5'5" and can tell them like, shut up right now. And they're like, yes, there, and everything. And like there's guys, I'm not saying me, who doesn't mind a woman who statures over me and is like strong and can bench me. We're not here to talk about people's fantasies, but I'm just saying.
I think though that
I'm just saying
there's a good balance to be struck there. You can be short and be like that too. Just saying.
Yeah, but listen. If I hate to judge people who like Amazons, you know, who just want to be held in a woman's arm and rock back and forth.
Yeah, why
not?
not?
Here to judge. I'm not here to judge.
You just want to be
any man who says they don't want a strong woman with nice arms and traps to like rock them in their arm and make them feel safe is less of a man, you know, a woman,
No.
you know.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
That's more manly because you're embracing the things that you individually like, and because if we're gonna dip into the psychology of that, men have been told for generations that the only emotion they're allowed to feel in excess is anger, and that's not okay. And I think that we're kind of running into that issue in the content creator space with how small the world has become, that men are trying to get out aggression, and they'll go to random girl streamer and just spew this nonsense because they're anonymous, and maybe they don't actually feel that way, or maybe they do, and it's really scary.
They could just instead integrate themselves into the community and feel the love that those communities have. You know, like a lot of communities with women running them are, you know, these more nurturing communities, because that's just our, and again, stereotyping, it's not to say that men can't, but a lot of women run communities, you know, they're gonna have that nurturing atmosphere to some degree, and you can then integrate yourself and feel better because you have this community of people that like all are supporting each other. And instead, you know, people will come in and start hating on the woman because they're so angry. But you wouldn't be so angry if you realized there are women on the internet who want to create that safe place for men to feel their feelings. If we're like in a moment and we're all like crying over a game, I'm like, let's get it out. It's fine. You know, like I'm like making it a welcome.
Crying.
Yeah.
Crying.
Oh my God, I was crying. You mentioned Detroit Become Human.
That's very toxic of you, Dylan.
I replayed that.
I can't
the
cry.
Other day.
I'm a toxic
No, I
male.
replayed it the other day. I hadn't played it since the beginning of my stream career, and it surprised me. I was sobbing at the end. I was like not okay. And
I cry at like every Yakuza.
and I'll have those moments, and I try to make it so it's like it's okay, like, you know, and all the guys will be like talking, and I'm just like, if you need to let your emotions out, we might not even be able to see you, but like let them out, feel it, you know. I want men to feel comfortable feeling their feelings around my chat, you know, and I think that's important.
But I want to talk about two things you said, like, you know, the nurturing and like the nurturing spaces that women create and everything. Sometimes that could be that is great. I'm not going to disagree with you there. It's just it could be also a double-edged sword, because you do have people who create that parasocial relationship.
Absolutely.
Like,
I think they're going to do that no matter
loves
what.
me. She cares about me and only me. And then the minute you talk to another guy, it's like, how could this dirty slut do this to me? It's like, no, she was never anything but a friend to you. And it's the same thing.
They're going to do that whether you're nurturing to them or you're like me, because I'm not a very nurturing person in my community. I would say that I foster good relationships and good conversation, but my regulars know that if they're pulling some bullshit, I'm not going to be like, well, we're not in kindergarten. We're not, oh, let's use our inside voices. That wasn't very nice. I'll be like, oi, quit being a fucker. Are you having a bad day?
Yeah. Like,
and that's how I do it. Rather, I'll just be like, are you having a bad day? Because so I don't deserve that. My community doesn't deserve that. If you're having a bad day, I'm sorry about that. You're more than welcome to chit chat about that here, but don't take it out on people. I will not accept that. And you know, I've lost some people as a result of that, but they can kick rocks.
I yell at someone at least once a week. I mean, like, honestly, and it's just, if somebody steps over a boundary, that's going to be a very clear, like, I'm nurturing until I'm mean, and I'll be mean. Like, if anybody backseats me, like, that's one of my triggers. I'm like, don't tell me what to do.
I get so mad.
Tell me what to do. It doesn't matter if it's IRL. It doesn't matter if it's in the game. Just shut. Like, in what world do you think that I want your input on what I'm doing?
The amount of times I've went, shut up, just shut up. And they're like, I couldn't help it. Really? You couldn't help it? You typed it out on your fingers, just typed it out by themselves and slammed that enter key. You just couldn't help it. You were in a fugue state. Get the fuck away from me.
Right there. And that's where I think almost women have to be like to a 10 on that if you're going to have the nurturing space too. Like, you have to, because people will take advantage of it. And like you said, they'll get parasocial, but like in a bad way. Because I feel like my chat and I are a bit parasocial, but in terms of like friendship, like I feel like we have,
but I'm parasocial about them too.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you know what? Twitter can call us parasocial, but I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Like, we have that friendship. Like, when I'm having a bad day, I want to be with my community, you know, like, that's parasocial, but that's what it is. And I'm okay with that. But if somebody steps over the line, they're going to get absolutely reamed in my chat by me and the chat, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah. And then when you guys said, like, you know, showing emotions, I'm the type of person, that's my toxic trait. That's my toxic trait. Like, showing emotions is very hard for me, because I've been in bad situations where, like, I've shown emotions and it's just been like, yuck. I'm like, what the hell? Or, you know, or like, even just around like relationships, and it's like around even your own friends, like some men group are like, suck it up.
Oh, yeah, no, will say.
And I grew up, mind you, I was raised all by women. I grew up with my mother, my sister, my grandmother. I had a brother, but he was just like whatever. But like, I was raised by like, and to tell like, men don't cry. For what? What are you crying for? And stuff. And then you get the thing as, oh, you should cry. And then you cry and it comes back and bites you in your ass. Stuff. So if I'm gonna sit here and cry, I'm gonna sit here and cry with nobody watching me. Because when it's like if we say this dumb stupid saying, if you cry in the shower, nobody can see you crying and stuff. But like you
crying in the rain.
Yeah, cry in the rain. Nobody can see you cry in the rain. You're doing. But there's a lot of times like I do get choked up and I sit there and go and there's I gotta be like, I'm a man. Don't show emotions, no man.
You don't need to do that. You absolutely don't need to do that.
But we gotta talk societal norms. Societal norms. Men have to be strong. We have to be the rock.
Then the societal norm needs to change because the women of now don't give a shit about that. And if they do, it's based in misogyny.
Correct. So again, it's all societal norm and what is structured, and it does need to change. It needs to change a lot. But sadly, it doesn't because the modern world where it keeps going there. Because every time we see we're going to progress, something just happens and we're going to go, nope, you can't do that. So women, be more independent. You don't need a man. Men, don't show emotions. Your mental health and stuff don't matter. Look at like mental health month, June. Mental health, men's mental health. Women were being attacked for just advocating it. Like saying, hey, remember there's guys out there, there's men, your brother, your father, that whatever, they matter. And it's like, oh, you're a pick me. Screw men. Okay, great. Cool. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like
when does it
get to the point where we don't want to control people's speech and what is being said when it comes to men and women? And fun fact, being in a relationship where you have full control is boring.
It is.
There's no
pushback. Again, we're going back to the AI conversation. The person's no longer a person. They're a little doll that you get to play with, and that's not fun.
You like, how do you always want to be right in a relationship? It's boring. Like why do you think some women start problems with their husbands? Because they need a little bit of excitement. And most guys like, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm going to give you pushback. And I'm like, you know what? I'm out of here. You're going to fight and whatever. And guess what? You're going to make up. But if you just say, you just constantly roll over, women just go, this is kind of boring. Same thing for men. My wife doesn't give me any pushback. It's just boring. The perfect relationship has a balance. Mm-hmm. It's good. People probably be like, Della, you don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy.
People shouldn't be creating drama. It's just life is hard enough if you look at what actually matters. There's a million things to talk about that are starting drama with each other. That can be interesting.
It's just a perfect balance at the end of the day. No relationship is like 100% perfect. Anybody that says the relationship is 100% perfect, you're with an AI robot at this point.
So if
you're with
they're starting stuff that doesn't matter rather than going, there's just avoidance. It's just avoidance over what actually matters if they're doing that.
Because you got to think, like, who hasn't been in disagreements with their significant other? You make up, you learn, you adapt.
Well,
that's what happens. It's
up,
human. Unless, okay, man, we know you dump everybody because they piss you off.
No, that is not how that goes. That is absolutely not how that goes.
Oh, they'll just circle back to you.
Your girl gets left.
Like...
It's fine.
Oh, I just triggered something in me. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. You're okay.
I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. It's all right. You'll be all right. You're a big girl. But I'm very thankful and I'm really glad that we can have you on the show today, Smexy. And
absolutely,
we're nearing the heart's end of the things. And we want to know, do you have any final words in the comment to the people listening or watching?
Generally, my whole thought process when dealing with people is something I learned in the kindergarten. The golden rule: treat others the way that you wish to be treated, and generally you'll be fine. I don't hate men. I don't hate women for defending men. I don't hate dudes for defending women or being scared for women. Just treat people the way that you would like to be treated, and generally you're going to have an easier time. Feel those emotions. Let the people you love feel safe enough around you to feel emotions, and just fucking live your life in a way that makes you happy. That's all that really matters at the end of the day.
That was so heartfelt, it made me sick.
Maybe you should cry about it later.
I will in the shower. Thanks. Thanks for bringing that up.
You can't see it. Yeah.
Tell people where they can find you.
Almost anywhere. Twitch is twitch.tv/Smexy. I'm Smexy TV on most socials, so you know your Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, all that fun stuff.
And that's
Technically, I'm on Kick if we want to talk about that, but I'm not streaming over there. Who knows? I might later.
And that's Smexy spelled SMEXI.
Correct.
Not with a Y. Not like
Nope.
this. Any final words, Mad?
Murph says hi. Murph says hi.
Murph says that's Murph or the other
Yeah,
one?
this is Murphy. Little one's
Oh, Murph is always the whole. Always wants the attention from you.
Yeah, he's the stream attention boy.
All right. My final words is. I don't know. This too much going on right now.
You're overwhelmed.
I'm overwhelmed. I had a bad week, so whatever. Well, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button to stay up to date with your favorite two unfiltered streamers and find out what's going on in the world today and how people can stop being a little less stupid and think.
I feel like we
Thank
say
you guys
that
for
at
joining
the end
us.
of every episode.
What? Yeah.
Just use your brain a little off more often.
Yeah, use it. Don't let other people use your brain. Be smart. All right.
Smexy, thank you for joining us. Thank you to our guest, and we will see you guys in the next one.